dobry, drodzy Państwo, tu Kaja Klimek, jak zawsze w festiwalowym enturażu na tle moich plakatów. Witam Państwa na krakowskim festiwalu filmowym. Bardzo się cieszę, że w tej formie mamy szansę porozmawiać z twórcami filmów pokazywanych na festiwalu. Oczywiście fajnie byłoby się spotkać w Krakowie, ale jest jak jest, radzimy sobie. Energia jest tak samo wielka jak na spotkaniach w salach kinowych, także bardzo się cieszę, że jesteście z nami. Przedstawiam Julię Wisznewec, reżyserkę filmu Hey Teachers. Ja wiem, że Julia część z rzeczy, które mówię teraz po polsku rozumie, ale pora przestawić się na język angielski, żeby właśnie rozmowa mogła płynąć tak, jak powinna. Hello, Julia, nice to meet you. As I said in Polish, Julia Wisznewec, the director of Hey Teachers, the film that we screen at Krakow Film Festival. We are really happy that you are able to join us. Tell us where you are now.
I'm in Moscow. I hope my internet connection will be stable during this half an hour. And I'm really happy to, to be a part of Krakow Film Festival.
Yeah, it would be lovely to meet you in person in Krakow because the topic and the idea of education is really close to my heart. I'm a teacher, my mom is a teacher, so it's really something that my life is invested in. So I was really glad to see the film about two young people who are really trying their best in the trade of the teacher in Russia, which must have been a pretty difficult project for all of you to endeavor. Spending this year with them and following them in school must have been an interesting journey. But tell us a bit about the characters themselves, because Vasya and Katya are the main protagonists in that story, let's call them that way. How did you meet them and where do they come from? What was the meeting with them and how the project started?
I knew Vasya before. I knew him as a linguist. He has been studying rare languages, and I made an interview with him as a journalist. And actually, I always wanted to make a film about a school because I didn't. It's a kind of closed world, which is very difficult to enter. And actually, I never went to a typical normal school. My school was very good, like for kind of intellectuals in Moscow, and I had no idea what a real school is like. So when Vasya told me that he's going to be a teacher in a provincial small town, I immediately thought that would be a film. Mm-hmm. I was very, very interested.
Mm-hmm. What about Katya? She was a friend also, or did you go through the process because you felt that, okay, story of Vasya is going to be interesting, but I need another person to follow? What was the story behind it, that she is also part of that project?
Yes, they knew each other before, and they decided to make it together. They have never been a couple. Or sometimes people are asking. So they were just friends who decided to try it together, and so. Katya is actually she just graduated a filmmaker school, so she is actually a screenwriter by education, script writer. So she was very idealistic, had many beautiful ideas, human rights, feminism, gay rights. So, and she really wanted to give children all her knowledge.
Yeah, now she can turn that into a film. If she has the ability to write the scripts, her story can be a basis for a really interesting film about the teacher who tries to really get across with all these ideas and yeah, meet the system in a way. So we have those two characters, two people that are really idealistic and want to connect with the young people. But as you said, school is really difficult. It's really closed world. So was that difficult to really enter, to get all the permissions and all of that to just film in there, especially as you said, it's like a provincial little school, not this kind of let's call it the high school from TV series like Sex Education, like it's really open and intellectual. It's more like school itself. So tell us a bit about the process and discussing that with for example the headmaster, who seems like a really cold and harsh person. Yeah, tell us a bit about the journey to this school before even starting shooting.
No, actually he's a nice guy, and and
okay.
maybe
I was scared of him watching the film.
everyone is scared of him, but just as a human being, he's nice. So we could explain him that only these two young teachers are our protagonists. We were not going to enter any other processes in the school. We won't visit any other lessons of other teachers, of old teachers. We will just film our protagonists. And also we had to collect permissions, written permissions of every of all parents whose children appear in our film. So at least the main class, those 20 people, we really had to get a sign of every parent. And that was difficult, of course.
Yeah, of course they don't. It's usual when you have children on screen that sometimes parents don't want to show how they behave, especially that not all the kids are like really idealistic in the way of the thoughts of Katya, for example. Some of them are more radical, conservative. They have different viewpoints, and it's really interesting to see that. But I guess that it must have been difficult to get all those permissions from them. But tell me, like, did they see the film in the school afterwards? Like, what were the reactions when you, or did you even show them the final effect of the process?
Not yet. We want to do it after the world premiere.
So that's gonna be
Russian premiere, but after the world premiere.
Oh, that's gonna be really interesting, I guess, for some of the young people to see themselves in your film, because that can be also like a lesson itself for them, don't you think?
Katya and Vasya have seen it. But students, their students, no. But Katya and Vasya have seen the film, and we even recorded some of their reactions and reflections. It was very interesting because actually 2 years have already passed, and now they can see their story backwards and analyze what probably has been done wrong and what was perfect. So it was very interesting.
Oh, that's interesting, because I was rather thinking about the young people, and in here we have also a lesson for those people who are so enthusiastic and idealistic that maybe they weren't listening to the fact that this is like an institution. Also, it has all those strict rules that you have to, in a way, follow. But tell me, because this is a process that you never knew how it's gonna turn out, because you have those people who start, and you don't know that in the end they're gonna decide to go the other way. So how does it work for you as a filmmaker to endeavor, the situation that you never know how it's going to develop? Was that, how did you follow all those changes and fluctuations with the story and Katya and Vasya's emotions and ideas? Did you kind of predict what's going to happen, or did you go with the flow? How that worked?
No, of course, you can never predict. Actually, they were planning to work for at least 2 years. Mm-hmm. And of course, no one could predict that both of them would be fired by the end of the first school year. But of course, for me, it was as like for any documentary filmmaker, like for any filmmaker, it.
Oj. Mamy mały problem techniczny. Myślę, że zaraz mu zaradzimy. The internet went wrong for a moment. So can you tell us once again about that they couldn't predict what's going to happen and how that influenced you and your process while you were making the film? Because something went for a moment wrong in here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So about all this unexpected. Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. There was a tiny jump again, but I guess we can continue. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So of course you can never predict what would happen at the end, but actually our protagonists were planning to stay at least 2 years at school, mm-hmm. or maybe longer, maybe for their whole life, but at least for 2 years. And of course, you never. I couldn't predict that both of them would be fired by the end of the first school year. But for me, it was important to observe the conflict, all situations that show the difference between young teachers and the conservative system. How this conflict would develop, I didn't know. Probably they would succeed, or maybe they would become a part of the system, and that was so. My expectations were that after 2 years they will become like small dictators, and that they would change, mm-hmm. But they didn't change, and the system didn't change. The system just rejected them. Mm-hmm. So yes, but so for me it was important to observe all these circumstances that lead to this conflict and that show this conflict.
But at the same time, you say like they didn't change, the system didn't change, but there is this group in the middle. I mean, the group of young people who are actually really connecting with them. Like, how was that to observe that actually those young people are changing in a way, that they are becoming more friends with those teachers? Because for me, it was really interesting to see that maybe you can't be a teacher in the education system, but you can be like a figure that can be relevant for young people in a different way. So like, because you tell us this story also about that maybe it's not the only thing that you can do for young people. So how was that to work with those really enthusiastic and actually idealistic young people in there, that there's this like tiny group of people who really care? So can you tell us a bit about that, when that developed, when that started to show that you can have also this in your film, not only those two teachers, but also the group of young people that are giving hope to every teacher in a way?
Yes, it was. I was very surprised. This was not what I expected at all, because this is a kind of bad school, really bad. So most of children belong to like uh, difficult, and among these students, we most of children don't read at all, uh, don't only probably most of them even don't have books at home. So not only that they don't read, but most of them just don't have any books. And suddenly we see really the small group, maybe 5% of the whole school, that suddenly happen to be very intellectual and very curious and very eager to uh, knowledge. Why? I don't know. Really, I asked them, are you from different families? And they said, no, my father is a miner and my mother works in a kindergarten, and my father works at a factory. So their their family background doesn't differ from other children. But suddenly one of them told me, I'm collecting my library. I uh, uh, and I buy books. And this will be first. I will have a small. First, it will be just 10 books, then 100, and then probably there will be a whole room with books.
Yes, it's really heartwarming, you know, because it's sometimes so difficult to find a way to get to the young person when you want to teach them something or show them something else that they know. And this is like a magical moment when it just happens, and you don't know really why, but there's this kind of like click. As a teacher myself, I think it's the biggest privilege that you have the possibility to be part of something like this. So I guess for Katya and Vasya, that must have been amazing feeling that, of course, our job in here maybe didn't work, but there is this group of young people that can actually really get something from this meeting. But I wanted to ask you, for you as a filmmaker, what this whole process, and for example, this that we are talking about, what does it give to you? What did you learn from all that experience as a filmmaker? Because it feels that every time that you enter a different world, you can get a lesson for yourself. So I wondered, how did you feel about that experience after it was in a way finished?
Of course, I was, of course, a little bit disappointed, both by the system and by my protagonist, to be honest, because somehow there was a hope that there could be a way, there could be a way to connect all these worlds, to have a dialogue, but it looked like, and actually I have always seen all these come closer, but finally it failed. So and it gives on one side like very pessimistic feelings, but at the same time the attempt itself gives hope. And also the story with smart teenagers also gives hope, because probably failed as teachers, but they could just become friends for this small group of students, and just made their life funnier, and made their life happier. And probably these small experiences give hope.
Yeah, actually, that's what I think in general about educating people. That was also a thing that my mom always told me. She was a teacher for 35 years. That, you know, you can have a crowd of 30 kids in front of you, and if only one is connecting with you well, that's a major success. Because of course, people are so different. They come from different worlds, different backgrounds. Sometimes they just don't care about books or films that you want to share with them. But if there's this one person, that's like this tiny glimpse of hope that that you can have. But of course, that would be really optimistic to say that. But at the same time, can I ask you about, because as we see in the film, the whole education system, it's pretty organized and strict. There are those rules that you have to follow. But do you feel that there's even hope for that to change with time, to be more open for this like new generation or new way of thinking in the society? Because of course, like, school is such an important part of creating future citizens and human beings in every country. So I wonder what you think about that. If there's more teachers like Katya and Vasya, would that change? Yeah, I'm kind of trying to find something optimistic in here also, but tell me how you see it.
Well, I think if coronavirus lasts for a couple of years more, then the system will change. There will be no schools, no ceremonies, no stupid ceremonies, no no gloomy classrooms. Everyone will teach online, and the whole idea of conservative education will be destroyed just by itself.
That sounds like the best idea ever. But I wanted to ask you also, because in Poland, and that's my observation, and that's also what I see around schools, and especially schools. I don't mean university education, but a bit lower level, that sometimes it feels that the teacher is the last person that everybody cares about, that the headmaster, the kids and what they want to do, the parents, everybody has a say, and the teacher is like a last person to say like, oh, maybe we can do it in that way. How does it from your observation work in general, and also in that school? Because it feels that the teacher has a bit like stronger position, but not when you are like a new idealistic person. How does it work from your perspective?
Oh yes, it is. Young teachers are really have are the most repressed persons at school, yeah. Because they have this pressure of the school staff. They have this duty to prepare lots of papers, and this is really a big problem in Russian school, and also in the Russian in hospitals and in medical system. There are more papers than work. You have to really half of your time you must just work with papers. And at the same time there is pressure from parents of children and from children themselves. So it it is really, and young teachers, their salaries are very low, and they have to just obey all these rules, and at the same time they seem to be free in content of their lessons. So they are not told to just to they're not told to explain only this and this and this during this one lesson, and this is a good side. So they really can feel free what they how they spend their time with children. But after that they have to make a huge bureaucratic process just to just to make an imitation that they follow the official program. So that's how it works.
It feels like creating and like really telling a story later on about what you actually do, because as we see in the film, during the lessons there are really important matters taking to the table. I mean, like LGBT rights, women rights. I mean, Katya, she talks about that up front really openly, which is, of course, it could be controlled. So it's thank you for telling us that it's really possible to basically create the stuff that you want to say, but then I guess spending another day of time just to explain that in this bureaucratic sense, that must be really stressful and strenuous, especially when you are idealistic person. And that's also a part of that story, that you have this like person against the system in a way, just trying to be free, but always having to follow all those rules. Can you tell us what they do now? I mean, Katya and Vasya, because we see that Vasya is going kayaking and Katya is turning her hair blue again. It's so great image to have her coming back to herself in a way. So can you tell us what are they up to now?
Katya works as a photographer sometimes, and she also, as I know, she also teaches children photography. And Vasya, Vasya went to another city, to Novgorod, and he is he teaches a little bit at the local university, and he also tries to do what he did before. That means that is to popularize linguistics, to help endangered languages. So he makes, for example, a dictionary of Nanai language. It's far in the north of Russia. So yes. So he returned to what he did before, basically.
And tell me, Julia, would you ever think of teaching film or teaching through film, or do you do that? Or do you feel, after being in that project, did your teaching part got encouraged, or you felt like, oh, I would never even try to do that myself?
That's hell. But of course, when sometimes I really wanted when I saw Katya's suffering during the lessons, and when I saw, sometimes I thought she does everything wrong. I want just to drop my camera and and take her place and do everything like it should be. But I never did. Because actually, you know, when you are at this place, that is what I learned from this experience. When you are a teacher, it is not like you never know what would you do, and if you are able to solve all these problems.
Yeah, one of my favorite people recently in the internet, John Krasinski, the actor, and he's known from the TV series The Office, for example. He now has a program that is called Some Good News, and he posted online every week just to show some good news from the time of pandemic. Mm-hmm. So in one episode, he focused on teachers, and he said that every teacher should be paid $1.7 million a day, because that's such a hard work and such a big responsibility, and people tend to treat, and especially like in the, you know, in the society and even in educational system, in the political way, that teachers will always in a way survive. I guess your film is a bit like, no, it's not the truth at all. Sometimes the people who actually should teach young people, because they have interesting worldviews, ideas, they try to, you know, put the enthusiasm to the young ones, are getting discouraged because the system eats them and doesn't really allow them to flourish. So that's actually not the mostly optimistic part of what we are talking in here. But still, I want to remind us and the people that are watching us about this group of young people who are really changing, thanks to Katya and Vasya, during the process of your film, because that's the hope that we can get, I guess. So you don't want to become a teacher. I'm still gonna be a teacher. Katya and Vasya will see.
I admire you.
In a way, they are still teaching, but through something else than the school. I also prefer to spend time like in the cinema to teach there about the film, not in the school itself, because the atmosphere is always kind of stressful in there. But
do you actually teach teenagers?
I teach at every level, because I'm mostly focusing on film education. So all the kids are participating in classes like that. I sometimes travel around Poland to go to schools to talk about film. So I feel like this kind of, you know, with a mission, still enthusiast. I hope it's going to stay that way. And I hope that you and your friends, Katya and Vasya, will find a way to really be strong in what you're doing and what you're trying to do for the viewers and for the young people. So thank you for being here with us, Julia. I hope that one day we're going to have a chance to meet and talk more about your projects. In the meantime, world premiere of Hey Teachers at Krakow Film Festival. Thank you for this. And yeah, be safe. And see you next time, I hope, in Kraków.
Thank you so much, Kaja.
Thank you very much. Drodzy Państwo, bardzo dziękuję, że spędziliście z nami ten czas. Oglądajcie filmy na Krakowskim Festiwalu Filmowym. Fajnie, że jesteście z nami. Temat edukacji, mam nadzieję, jest bliski również Waszym sercom. Także do zobaczenia w następnym odcinku, na następnym spotkaniu. A teraz machamy. Please wave to the audience, Julia. It's going to be nice for them to have it like this. And do zobaczenia. Thank you very much once again.